Hello, everybody. Welcome to our live stream, our weekly live stream. I almost didn't do it today. Actually, I think I said yesterday that I wasn't going to do it today because I had another uh, engagement. But I decided, you know what? I'll just push the live stream till 7 o'clock, my time, 8 o'clock your time. I hope everybody. I know it's a little late. Uh, and I want to thank everybody that came in yesterday for my birthday celebration and on my surprise live stream. And thank you everybody for the happy birthdays. I can't thank you guys enough. I want to get to responding to everybody that wished me a happy birthday on my comments on my live stream. I'm just recovering from the party yesterday. But I really enjoy. Thank you for dropping by yesterday. Really enjoyed having everybody. There was a last minute thought. Excuse me, a last minute thought, and it turned out great. And actually, we even got a great idea out of it. I was looking at the poll, and it's 70-30 that everybody wants to, that these surprise live streams. I think yesterday what I did, if you didn't make my live stream yesterday, I came on just out of the blue. I didn't schedule anything. And I had actually a really good turnout of people, and just to say hello and show everybody the preparations for my birthday party. And one of the reasons why I wanted to show those preparations, everything that I did yesterday was home cooked. We're talking out in the country, home cooked. Even the cake was baked and home cooked out in the country here, countryside here in San Miguel de Allende. And one of my things when I saw so many people found it, came on, and I thought, why don't I just do more of these live streams? The only thing is, if you're not subscribed, subscribe so you'll get that email notification that I'm online. I'll try to stay online long enough for people to get on. But what I'm thinking about doing, internet connection allowing, if I do know that I have an unlimited mobile internet connection that connects pretty well when I'm in the centro, but sometimes it connects to actually it connects to Telcel. It's an AT&T or Cricket phone, and it connects to the Telcel. And Telcel, when the AT&T roams on Telcel, Telcel doesn't give you very much speed. So hopefully I can get that sorted out. But now when we make our trips to the centro, what I'm going to start doing is I have ordered a gimbal so it wouldn't be so unstable like yesterday, and walk in the centro and have my live stream while I'm walking or while I'm at a restaurant or while I'm having coffee, and you guys can join me in having a cup of coffee or walking down the streets of San Miguel. Sort of like a vlog, but instead of it being all edited and everything else, we can talk about it. Still ask me anything about Mexico, but at the same time in a different ambient. I will still be holding my weekly streams. I'm holding a poll to see if you guys want something like that, and actually 70% of you are saying yes. So it looks like I'm going to start doing it. And I really enjoyed yesterday because I got to be a little bit more interactive, and not just interactive in, okay, let me tell you what's going on, and then let me give you all on a different subject or whatever the subject may be in the evening. And then is there any questions? Yesterday was a neat time because I got to show you actual authentic Mexican food that's cooked on wood, and how they prepare it in special pots, and doing the masa for the. And by the way, the corn masa yesterday was actually made from corn that came from the fields. It's fresh corn that came. They ground the corn and everything, and then they brought it and they made it into masa. So it was totally organic. I had a total organic meal yesterday. All of it was fresh, straight off the farm. Um, and thank you, everybody, for your birthday wishes. And thank you for coming on live yesterday. So not only did I get to celebrate with my family, but I also got to celebrate with my audience. I love the fact that we have this community that I haven't built. I think we have built. I want to say it's we, uh, and that's why I want to say it's we, because it's not just me. I mean, I run the Root YouTube channel, but my Facebook group has grown, uh, and I've tried to create a community. As a matter of fact, kind of a drama-free community where you don't have to worry about getting bullied, where you don't have to worry about. As a matter of fact, I've already banned people just for nasty comments. I don't put up with that, even if you want to be sarcastic. Uh, and someone in my Facebook group he actually made a good comment, and he said this Facebook group is to help each other out, not to discuss politics, not to put anybody down, not to put any. And like I said, I don't get into politics. I don't put up with it. I don't care which side of the fence you're on, or what country you're from, or what the country's going through. This is about moving to Mexico. It doesn't have anything to do with politics back home or anywhere or anything else. It's all about moving to Mexico. And I want to create a community where everybody can feel that they're welcome and that they can come and ask questions. And, there's an old saying. I know the old saying, there's no such thing as a stupid question. And I know a lot of people would say, yes, there is. No, there isn't. Because everybody is a valid question for everybody. And Lambden, happy birthday. Nature Lovers Hill, Cindy K is here. Shout out to Stephanie Beckman. Rick, you were able to make it. I didn't know. I was watching the Formula One. I didn't know. Did the 49ers win? Also, Larson is here. My beautiful wife, Yamilet, is here. Michael Eguerito, you're here. Always great to see you. And Denise, great that you're having great weather this weekend. I know that you've talked about having to use the mini splits. Hopefully it was nice and beautiful and you didn't have to. Oh, I'm sorry that the 49ers lost. Don't worry, Rick. I'm originally a Cowboys fan, but I kind of abandoned them. Well, I didn't abandon them. I still claim the Cowboys fan, but only when they win. And the 49ers, I don't know. Actually, I haven't been keeping up with NFL. I'm sorry. And because the Dallas Cowboys they don't really do good. And so I don't watch. But hopefully good luck to the 49ers next time. Oh, wow. The Bengals defeated the 49ers. Oh, the Cowboys won. Oh, wow. That goes to show you. Maybe I might start watching the NFL again. Well, we're going to have to see. Maybe this is going to be a weird year for the NFL. But sorry to hear that the 49ers lost, but it's very surprising that the Bengals, I haven't kept up with the NFL that much, so I don't know. Kai, love seeing your rooftop and home cooking in the birthday stream yesterday. Are you still thinking about keeping your house in San Miguel de Allende? You do seem more relaxed in San Miguel than when you were in the Monterrey. Actually, Kai, I think the verdict is in, not just with my viewers, but I think the verdict is in between my wife and I that we're gonna keep the house in San Miguel de Allende. Probably we're gonna end up living here most of the time. And Rick, are you going to give us a tour of your gorgeous home today? Actually, Rick, I'm working on a tour video. The problem is I was going to show you the house. Actually, I was going to do it from the rooftop today, but the problem is it around 5:00 it gets dark, and so it's already dark outside. So when I do the live stream, I'll probably do it next weekend. I know I promised it this weekend. Excuse me, but something came up and I had to schedule the live stream kind of later on in the evening. But what I might do, either if I can't get the footage, here's the issue that I have with my house tour is we have a lot of construction in the area. I mean, Girandot is still developing, and I really want to do it. Actually, Saturdays, the workers don't come. So I don't have a lot of noise per se. It doesn't bother us in the sense that there's a lot of banging and stuff. But when I produce the video, you're probably going to hear a lot of background noise, and I want to leave out the background noise as much as possible. It's really hard to edit it out in post production. So I know a couple of my tools are really good at taking out all of that stuff. But we're probably going to do some more filming a little later on in the week. I wasn't able to do it this weekend because, of course, I was busy with my birthday, and I will next week do it from my rooftop again. But I'm going to do a little bit more professionally next week. I'm going to have two cameras, one looking out over the view, and then I'm going to actually bring out my laptop and kind of stream. But instead of this background, my background will be the background on my rooftop. And then I have a mobile camera that I can move around if I want to take you guys around again to see it again. Landon, rooftop patios seem pretty common in Mexico. Yes, they are. Actually, Landon, the reason why they're very common here in Mexico, one thing you're going to find about Mexico is that homes are not built on a lot of their property is very small. Probably if you buy an old home, you'll get a lot of property, but property is a commodity nowadays here in Mexico. So what happens is that a lot of times you don't have a yard. Now in Monterrey, I have a yard. We bought a 327 square meter lot, but even on a 327 square meter lot, normally what happens is they build up. Like you're going to find in my house that my house is a 3-story house. Well, it's 2 stories, but with a rooftop garden. So really, I don't have a backyard. Now, I do have a backyard in the sense that it goes into the community backyard. I actually own 30 meters back from the back of my house, but that's communal property. So I can't really do anything. I can't put a fence or anything, but I own it on paper. So what happens is you end up building upwards. You'll find most houses here in Mexico are 2 stories or 3 stories with a rooftop. And the rooftop terrace is for entertainment. It's kind of like your patio or your backyard. That's why you'll see a lot of rooftop houses here. Now, this is in the newer construction. For example, lots here. Maybe if I can even show you a lot across the street, how big it is. And then you'll have an idea of why everything's built upwards. And actually, it's very uncommon. My house has a room on the first floor, but it's very uncommon to have a room on the first floor also because they need to use the space on the bottom. That's very common here in Mexico, but it's just because of the lack of space per se to work with. We were able to in Monterrey, even with 327 square meters, they wanted to build it up 2 stories. We wanted 1 story. We were able to do it in an L shape, which we still kept a good portion of the patio, but you don't have big parcels of land here. And Rick Brandt, I don't blame you for keeping that home. You and your wife did a great job. The pics are great. Oh, thank you, Rick. And actually, Rick, you're still invited to come over and take a personal tour of the house. I know that you were looking when you're going to be coming now in November. And we had already talked about it. And congrats on keeping the house in San Miguel de Allende. Now, there's still a for sale sign out there. I still have to list my house I still have to list my house in Santa Fe. But we've made the decision to keep the house, and depending on how things go, I'm hoping we're not forced to sell this one, but I don't think so. I think Santa Fe's got a good market, and I'm going to take down the sign once we switch over the sale of my house in Santa Fe. And Rick Brand, for our home session, we're focused on either San Antonio, Guadaña, or Las Ventanas. Those are all great places, actually. Las Ventanas has a golf course. I know that. San Antonio is also very popular. It's close to the Centro. Actually, Guadaña and San Antonio are closer than we are to the Centro. And actually, he meant our home search, not our home swatch, but our home search. But those are all great places. Um, Now, Las Ventanas, I'm not sure. Have you found places that are available there? Because it's pretty full already. There's no new construction, but there's some beautiful houses out there. And we will take you up on getting together in a few weeks. That sounds great, Rick. We look forward to seeing you there. So um, now we're 20 minutes in, and like I said, I give a little bit of time for everybody to get in. We got a lot of people in here. Um, Go ahead and ask away. This is Ask Me Anything About Mexico. And we're talking Mexico. Like I told you the other day, or I think yesterday I might have mentioned, you know what? I've lived all over Mexico. I haven't just lived in one place. I don't generalize Mexico as all of Mexico's like San Miguel or all of Mexico's like Monterrey. One thing you're going to find about Mexico, and that's the big mistake that I think a lot of YouTubers make that have never even left their town. And there's several of them. I'm not putting them down, but they make these videos that this is the way Mexico is. Well, no, it's not, because you've never been to the north. You've never been to the south. San Miguel's in the central. Actually, the south is different than the central part of Mexico. The central part of Mexico is different than the northern part of Mexico. The culture is different if you go to Quintana Roo. The culture is different. Actually, when you start talking about beachfront, the culture is different if you go into Baja. Baja is more Americanized. I just finished visiting Baja, and I swore to God that I was in California. So you got to be very careful when doing your research. And somebody that comes on and said, this is the way Mexico is, and Mexico's this, and Mexico's this, and Mexico's that, because, I live in Mexico. Well, just because you live in Mexico doesn't mean that that's the way it works. And especially when it comes to legal processes, we talk about INM a lot. It's different. INM works different in Merida than it does in San Miguel de Allende. INM works different than it does. As a matter of fact, even when you go back to the consulate and you go back to your consulate in Vancouver, it's going to work different than Quebec, Canada. If you go to your consulate in Dallas, Texas, it's going to work different than McAllen, Texas, or Arizona. So don't let anybody tell you this is the way Mexico is, because I know, and I know everything just because I live here. That's not the way it works. And I don't know everything about Mexico. There's no such thing, like I've always said, there's no such thing as an expert here in Mexico. And I realize that a lot of expat services want to make you think that they're experts. There is no such thing as an expert. I'm not an expert. All I am is the kind of guy that just knows where to search. Rick, Las Ventanas has many listings. Oh wow. The last time in Ventanas, we looked in there, it was pretty sold out. Not sold out, but there wasn't anything on the market. But I guess there's a lot of stuff in the market. But that's a beautiful place. It really is. They have a really nice restaurant there too, in the golf club. We own a condo in Tulum, and it's a great beach town, but we feel now that it's a lot like Hawaii. San Miguel has already temperate climate, probably is what you're trying to say. Yeah, climate. Actually, you came in here. So yes, Tulum's a lot different, and San Miguel has a great climate. I swear to God, I came all the way from Monterrey, Mexico, and oh my gosh, it's so great. It's dry. Some people don't like dry weather. And that's another thing you need to take into consideration when you're moving to Mexico. You got to pick your place. Just like I said, there's some people that don't like the dry weather. Some people will tell you San Miguel de Allende is perfect weather all year round. I'm one of those that will tell you San Miguel is perfect weather, but that's perfect weather for me. There's some people that just love the hot and humid weather. Maybe you're from Miami, and well, maybe you're trying to escape Miami in the hot and humid, or you're suffering from McAllen, Texas, where it's hot and humid, or you're living in Monterrey, where it's hot and humid sometimes. But maybe you crave that hot and humid. You can't deal with the cool weather. Hey, or there's people from the north that want to get away from the cold weather. So it's all about picking a place that's right for you. Nobody can tell you that San Miguel's the best place, because maybe San Miguel's not the best place for you. It's the best place for me, and so is Monterrey, but not necessarily the best place for everybody. And Michael Aguerito, yes, this is a perfect example, and I have a fly flying around, so if I start swatting around, you got to excuse me here. This is a perfect example. What Aguerito Michael is saying here is that in some parts of southern Mexico, it's a bit Caribbean, specifically in the coastal areas. Chiapas and Tuxtla Gutierrez is different from other parts of the republic. Yes, and I can tell you right now, in the north of Mexico, it's all about beef. In Sonora, in Monterrey, actually, what we do in Monterrey on the weekend is fire up the grill, and it's all about grilling fajitas and ribeye steaks, and the best cuts of meat come out of Monterrey. You come here to the central part, and it's other things like mole. Mole is, I think, if I'm not mistaken, Puebla, but there's a different kind of mole down here. It's cooked differently. Actually, it's cooked differently than what we eat, the mole we eat in the north. So there's a lot of different, and the south, the food is a lot different too. In Chiapas, like he was saying. And then, of course, you've got the coastal areas, which you're going to have a lot of seafood. So, nobody, the plates are different. And anybody, I mean, that tells you about, I don't know, taco laws and everybody eats tacos with everything. Tacos aren't the only thing in Mexico. Tacos are, as a matter of fact, as you saw that yesterday, we were eating mole. Mole, yes, we eat it with a tortilla, but we don't make a taco out of it. It's not a taco. It's mole with corn tortillas. We use the tortillas to complement the mole. We have gorditas here that you stuff with cheese and stuff like that. And in Michael Huerito, Tijuana has been growing like wildfire. And actually, that thing on taco laws, to be honest with you, I thought that was more an insult on Mexico than it was, and I didn't think it was funny. So anybody that really thought it was funny, it really wasn't, because that's just making fun of Mexico, because not everything is tacos here. And I don't care if it came out of a Mexican's mouth. It's still an insult to Mexico. Tijuana has been growing like wildfire. You know what, Michael? I heard that a lot of people from San Diego are moving there to Tijuana. That's what I hear. A lot of people are moving to Tijuana and crossing every day and going to work. Actually, when I started my YouTube channel, I ran into a couple of people that were living there. Actually, I interviewed a guy he couldn't get his papers. He was living in California, but he had to leave the country while he was waiting for his papers to renew or something, and he was living in Tijuana. Lamnan, I plan on renting for more than a month in all the different locations my wife and I are considering. Lamnan, that's a great idea. Durango is also famous for beef. Yes, and beef recipes. You're correct. And Lamnan, all this about renting. I talked about owning a home. Yeah, owning a home once you find your place. That's what's really great. You find your place. You find your place of where you find your place by where you settle down. Yes, Lambden. Menudo and pozole vary a lot by region too. Actually, I had pozole yesterday. Okay, I'm in the central part of Mexico. The ingredients are kind of the same. And actually, I'm from New Mexico. New Mexico eats pozole during the Christmas season in New Mexico, the United States, New Mexico. And I can tell you, pozole in New Mexico is not the same as pozole in the north of Mexico. Actually, it's kind of prepared the same way, but it is different. And Mole down here is actually prepared. I'm not mole. Pozole down here is prepared differently also. So you can even have the same food, but with a different recipe. So when someone says pozole, I ate pozole. Well, you kind of got to say, or menudo. Menudo is also prepared differently. To be honest with you, Landon, I'm not much of a menudo person. So, but I do know it is prepared a little bit differently depending. And it's also the quality of the ingredients and the different kind of ingredients that are available in that area. But it is basically the same recipe. It's just a variance in chili and spices that are put into the pozole. But it's kind of basically the same concept. I know that in Sinaloa they love their chilorio. Also, agua chile is very popular. I kind of know because my parents are from there over there. Yeah, that's very true. And we're getting a glimpse at, as a matter of fact, with these comments, and thank you for these comments because this is exactly my point. You know, not all of Mexico is Taco Bell. I hate to tell everybody this, and and actually, I'm not even sure. I don't even know how the Chihuahua ended up the mascot for Mexico somehow in other places and commercial in commercials or whatever. Um, and there's a lot of misconceptions. But I think the point I'm trying to make, and these are great comments, especially about food. The food is so much different everywhere you go. I'm not. I'm going to tell you what in Monterrey. I mean, my wife and I, we eat. We have a more of a vegetable based diet. We're not vegan, but we have more of a vegetable based diet. But we have a hard time in Monterrey because everybody is like, excuse me, carne asada, carne asada. Carne asada is barbecue, kind of another word for barbecue. And every weekend it's like put the ribeye steak on the grill. And I'm telling you right now, we don't eat tacos. We have ribeye and fajitas. That's what we eat up there in the north. And that's every weekend. Yeah, we have a tortillas and put cheese on the tortillas and they're kind of like quesadillas on the corn tortillas. So that's it's very different everywhere. And it's not just the food. Um, It's not just the food. It's everything. It's everything from the way the police work to the way the immigration kind of works. It can be different everywhere you go. A nature lover. I just watched a show with Chef Gordon Ramsay in search of ingredients in nature in Mexico for mole. It was wonderful. An older National Geographic program that's on YouTube, on YTT, YouTube. Okay, that's what you meant was YouTube YT. Um, yeah, there's the ingredients are different depending on where you go. Some people will actually mix mole with with peanut butter. Believe it or not, it's actually made with peanut butter in some cases. Um, and I've seen that more in the north. If someone can correct me, uh, but actually not really in the north of Mexico. They do that a lot in South Texas, which is not considered Mexico. So but a lot of their food, the Tex-Mex food, comes from the northern traditions, Mexican traditions. And Laura, greetings from the Z Estate. Oh, you're from New Mexico, fellow New Mexican here. uh, yeah, San Diegans are relocating to Tijuana. The demand is just absurd. The infrastructure is being upgraded constantly. The problem is the quality of the infrastructure and lack of four-lane highways. Actually, Michael, I can actually, uh, uh, how would you say, sympathize with you because we were in Monterrey, and I think the same thing has happened in Monterrey. A lot of industry has gotten there, and along with the industry, I think the government, not the federal government, but the state of Nuevo Leon has focused so much, or even the city of Monterrey. It started off as one of the industrial centers of Mexico, actually The biggest thing that was produced out of Monterrey was steel, and now actually Cemex, where you get all your cement, it's all produced in the biggest company, cement company here in Mexico, or probably the only cement company if you talk to some people. Well, is based out of Monterrey, Mexico. Coca-Cola, based out of Monterrey, Mexico. Actually, a lot of the Coca-Cola that goes to the United States is actually manufactured in Monterrey, Mexico. Some of the big beer companies, most of the big beer companies. But what's happened is that with all that growth, there hasn't been an upgrade in the infrastructure. So Monterrey suffering from that. A lot of power outages, water, a lot of transformers that are blowing up in the older neighborhoods, and then the CFE not being able to replace those transformers. And Landon, this is a good point. If you have family in the USA or Canada, seems like having an international airport close would be nice. Yes, Landon. Actually, we live here in San Miguel. We can get to the United States from Querétaro. There's a lot of direct flights, but we're also close to Mexico City. So if we really need to, we can go out of Mexico City. But what's beautiful about living down here, for example, flying to Europe, a plane ticket to Europe from Mexico City, you don't connect 50 million times like you do in the United States. So if I'm flying from McAllen, Texas to, I don't know, London, okay, I have to go McAllen, Texas to Dallas, Texas, maybe a direct flight, but usually to the East Coast, New York. Then from New York, I have to go over to London. Here, there's direct flights to London, so it's even shorter of a distance and cheaper. If you want to travel the world, you're better off taking off out of Mexico than you are out of the United States. Or I don't know about Canada, but yes, it is good to have an international airport. We also have an international airport. Monterrey has a good airport that we can get anywhere in the United States, all the major destinations in the United States. But you can pretty much find, I mean, even Cancun, if you want to fly, there's direct flights. Southwest Airlines too comes into Mexico. There's some direct flights as long as you got some good connection to Houston, Dallas, San Antonio, Miami. Those are the major airports that you want to fly into and connect to that'll take you anywhere in the United States. LA, also LAX. If you're going back towards Hawaii, probably Rick can say you have to connect through LA, probably LAX, I would think. But you want to find a place and even here in Querétaro, there's pretty much good flights to San Antonio, to Dallas, direct flight. I don't know about Miami, but there's direct flights everywhere. And like I said, you could take off out of Mexico City, and Mexico City is pretty much international, central for not just the United States or not just Canada. We're talking all over the world. Yeah, Oxo is from Monterrey as well. There's a lot of things. And actually, Mexico's about to be invaded by a Canadian company called Tim Hortons. If anybody hasn't heard about it yet, Tim Hortons, there was an individual that went to Canada. Tim Hortons is kind of like, I don't know, Dunkin' Donuts, Starbucks, and it's very popular in Canada. It's a Canadian company. And there's a guy that went to Canada and he brought Tim Hortons down to Monterrey. And then they also did a weird thing where they started setting up these kind of in the parking lots with these shipping containers. Tim Hortons started setting up locations all over Monterrey. Next thing you know, they're talking about going international, not international, but nationally. And so supposedly Tim Hortons is going to invade Mexico, but it actually came out of Monterrey. When you see a Tim Hortons, of course it's out of Canada. It's a franchise out of Canada, but probably the person who brought it here was out of Monterrey, and probably the headquarters is going to be in Monterrey. So, and I use the Tijuana airport to fly in Mexico, just park my car. Yeah, a lot of people do that, actually. I've had a lot of questions about how to cross and how to get there. But that's a lot of, and also what we do. But we have family in Monterrey. When we're going to the United States, sometime we'll fly from here to Monterrey. We'll stay with family, and then we're 2.5 hours from the border. Um, Sometimes we don't bother flying into the United States. To be honest with you, we fly close to the border, and then we drive across, which is in Monterrey. Oh wow, you fly all the way from Maui? I thought, you know what, Rick? I thought you would probably, maybe I haven't traveled for a while, but usually coming out of you know what? Dallas is a pretty big international hub. I wouldn't doubt it that Dallas has flights to Hawaii, but I always assumed that you still had to go through LAX. There's the thing I've never understood the U.S. System in the sense that of connections. I used to travel a lot for my job, and I used to have to make sometimes 3 to 4 or 5 connections when I could have just, I don't know, instead of being at my destination in 2 or 3 hours, it was usually a whole day trip, along with layovers. Um, but that is interesting, Rick. Thanks for bringing that up. And also, that also brings up a good point that Querétaro has flights to Dallas. And from Dallas, you can get to Hawaii. You can get to pretty much anywhere in the United States. Dallas is a major hub for, if I'm not mistaken, Dallas is a major hub for either United or American. I think, I'm not sure. Geez, I want to say they're the main hub for American. It's been a while since I've actually traveled through Dallas. And then Dallas is one of the main entry points too for customs. LAX is also. Oh, a new airport is opening in Tulum very soon. Yeah, I know that you always have to go through Cancun. We go to Cozumel and we land in Cancun. I do know that there's an airport in Cozumel. People have told me. But we actually fly from like Monterrey or from here, from Querétaro, and it's cheaper to fly to Cancun and take the ferry. Um, if you fly into, it's kind of, you have to take a puddle jumper plane or connect and then take kind of like a puddle jumper plane into Cozumel, and it's a lot more expensive. And we've looked into it, and it's like double the price. We got a lot of these budget airlines here that Viva Aerobus, and we use Viva Aerobus, which pretty much Viva Aerobus has got really good prices. You can't beat it. That's correct, Ernie. Though I would say that the northern and southern Mexico lack international flights from Europe. Uh, from Europe directly, living in San Diego, LAX is excellent and reasonable to fly anywhere. Yeah, yeah. Now, Mexico City does have now. Yes, actually, Mike, you're right. Michael, you're right. The north, not so much. But you know what? Let me tell you, Monterrey. I don't know what's going on, but Monterrey is getting a lot of international flights, direct flights, like to Spain. Uh, the Viva Aerobus, I think, even opened up some flights to Colombia. Actually, Monterrey is getting a lot more international flights. But if you're going out of Mexico City, it's you pretty much can go anywhere, just like LAX. Mexico City is like the LAX or the Dallas or the Houston International, or your New York LaGuardia. Um, that's your equivalent here in Mexico. Oh, Tim Quereto has so Tim Hortons actually made it down there. I read the articles that they were moving down to the rest of Mexico. I didn't realize they made it to Querétaro already. We haven't been to Querétaro lately, so I and don't be surprised, Cindy, if they're going to be all over Querétaro. I personally, to be honest with you, I've been to Tim Hortons. We stop at Tim Hortons. We wash our car in Monterrey, and there's one of those little, like I told you, the little shipping containers. And actually, Tim Hortons in Canada wants to adopt that idea of the shipping containers. Actually originated in Monterrey, Mexico. And now Tim Hortons is going to take that idea back to Canada. and they're going to start building Tim Hortons in parking lots just like they do here. I mean, in Mexico, in Monterrey. But the shipping container idea, if you in Canada, if you got my Canadian viewers, if you start seeing Tim Hortons being built in shipping containers, it came out of Mexico. That's where the idea came out of. And there was a big article in the paper, in the Monterrey paper, and how that Tim Hortons was very impressed, and they came down and they wanted to start doing that in Canada. So, my personal opinion is Tim Hortons. I know that Canadians will say it's the best thing since sliced bread. I know if you're from Boston, you'll say that Dunkin' Donuts is the best. Uh, if you're in Starbucks country, I don't know. Starbucks, I don't know. I wouldn't say any particular location. Um, to me, it's a donut place. I mean, they sell donuts. We eat there. I mean, I go and grab a donut there, but we're more. We like local coffee shops more. As far as the coffee, we're not very impressed with um, the coffee. Actually, after coming to San Miguel de Allende and going to a local coffee shop here, we have a Starbucks here in San Miguel in the Central. We rarely, if ever, go for Starbucks. I mean, I think the only time we go to Starbucks, actually, we have gone to Starbucks in Monterrey, but it's because there's not much uh, of a selection like there is here. But we prefer the local coffee shops here. Also, Mexican government is resurrecting the Mexicans de Aviación. Oh, really? Are you talking? Actually, Michael, are you talking about um, the the airport upgrading system or whatever? Because I know that Mexico got upgraded to a different level with security, so now they're able to open up flights. That's why you're seeing more direct flights to all over the world. Landon, Ernie, I think I heard you say HEB is some of the larger northern central cities. Actually, HEB, I'll tell you the history of HEB. For those of you who have come to Mexico, there's one in Querétaro. Um, Pretty much they're in the northern part of Mexico, more more towards Monterrey. Here is the reason. HEB started in Texas. HEB is a Texas-based company. So, and Texas is right there on the border. So HEB supplies, and actually you get the same products that you get in Texas. Not all of them, but you get a lot of the HEB products that you get in Texas down in Monterrey. You can also get them in Querétaro. But HEB is a Texas-based company, so that's why you see them in the north, especially on towards the Texas Mexico, excuse me, towards the Texas Mexico border. That's where you're going to see most of your HEBs. Um, but there is one here in Querétaro. Oh, nature lover, you started talking about eco neighborhoods yesterday. I think you mentioned a friend from New Zealand started one. Can you please elaborate a bit? Yes, I can elaborate. I can tell you the community is called Hapori, Hapori. They have a Facebook page. You can find them, Hapori San Miguel de Allende. I think their Facebook page, let me see if I can find it here. Actually, let me see if I can bring it up on Facebook. Um, but they have a Facebook page, and the way it's all self-sustainable living. Um, they actually the houses don't have kitchens in the sense they have a communal kitchen. Now I think the houses do have like some type of sinks and stuff like that. Um, Let me see if I can find Hapori and bring it up. Eco housing, yes, Hapori Eco Housing, San Miguel de Allende. Um, and let me bring them up right now. Hold on, just give me a second here. I'm gonna bring them up on my screen. This is their Facebook page. Um, Hold on here. This is their Facebook page. And hold on just one second here. let me see if I can. I'm trying to control the. Hold on here. This is their Facebook page. I'm not getting any control here. Hold on here. Well, like I said, this is their Facebook page. I'm sorry I couldn't bring it. I had some technical difficulties here. For some reason, my software is freaking out here. But let me see if I can bring it back up again. Let me bring you back to. But it's what they do is basically what they do on the is it's self-sustainable. For example, they do rainwater collection. They actually do rainwater collection, and they actually sell pieces of property. They sell these houses. I think that if you go to the Facebook page at Hapori Eco Housing, let me see if I can. But if you go to their Facebook page, let me see here. I'm having an issue here with my Ecamm Live here. Okay, hold on. But if you go to their Facebook page, they have like their model homes. They also have they have like an eco pond where they filter the water, and it's filtered by rocks and all sorts of stuff. I can get you more details when I actually go visit them. But I can get you more details, and so that you can take a look at what they have to offer. Actually, let me see. I think I can come back on here again and share my screen. But this is their Facebook page, and if you look down here, they even have a community. They all live together, a greener future. They also do events there. And there's one of their locations outside. And if you look right here in the back, there's one of their houses. This is Mike Lester. He's one of the owners of Hapori. He's one of the founders and one of the people that founded Hapori. But their best bet, and they have, I think you can get a hold of them on their Facebook page, message them. They'll get back with you. And that's, and it's kind of it's out in the desert, but it's out in the country. Oh, Mexicana de Aviación Airlines. Okay, it's an airline. So, and nature lover, I'm interested in buying a small home, and so I can do small scale organic farming. Actually, they're doing organic farming out there at Hapori, but it's a communal garden that they all help out each other out. I'm interested in a more rainforesty areas. Do you have any recommendation? I intend to do monthly stays like Gringo and Us recommendation. You know what? I don't know about the foresty area. The Monterrey has a lot of forest, but not a lot of the eco type of. You're gonna find more of the natural living kind of stuff down here in the south, in the central part, kind of like San Miguel. Oaxaca, you're gonna find, but Oaxaca's a little bit closer to the Pacific. But I would check out Oaxaca, because if you're talking about local, now you want to start talking about the mountains and that type of stuff. Morelia is very pretty, very beautiful. Going out down a little further south, but San Miguel, like you saw the eco housing, that's more desert kind of area. But like I said, they do gardening. They brought in a lot of stuff that normally doesn't grow in the region, but they grow it there. And yeah, the first baby born in Hapori, that's sweet. Yes, actually, Mike's wife just had a baby in Hapori. And also nature lover, local businesses are always better. Yes, They really are. Actually, that's one of the points that I'm going to be making that's one of the points that I'm going to be doing in my video of San Miguel. If you go to the local carniceria, which is the meat market, or you go to the local market here, um, and actually this next week, now that all the birthday party is over, I'm going to start putting the footage together so I can show you what we bought with 500 pesos at the market. And so, and just a little bit of history on Tim Hortons. They came here in October of 2017, and they actually, uh, their first outside of, they have one in Querétaro, they have one in Guadalajara, and they're also, oh geez, um, and they also have one in Mexico City, but they are expanding. Tamim, hi Ernie, Mexicana Airlines slogan was Mexico con alas, Mexico with wings. That's kind of cool. You know what, Mexicana Airlines, I never really, I mean, I guess you said that they were bringing them back, um, but I haven't messed with them. And then Rick Brandt, as far as flying within Mexico, what airline do you recommend? Now, here's the thing, and I'm going to give a disclaimer before I recommend this airline. We use an airline called Viva Aerobus. Um, it's kind of, I want to explain it kind of like the Southwest Airlines. Well, Southwest Airlines kind of grew and they're no longer. I don't know if everybody ever remembers Southwest Airlines when they first started. It was fly for peanuts, and all they would give you was peanuts. And then, they wouldn't offer you a meal or whatever. And then, of course, you would get a big discount for flying for peanuts with peanuts. And all you would get, and Southwest still does that. That's their supposed moniker of flying for peanuts or whatever. Viva Aerobus is a lot like that. They're a budget airline here in Mexico. Um, the tickets are dirt cheap. And but here's the catch, and I'm going to make it one catch. The terminals that Viva Aerobus, now in Monterrey, they made a new terminal because they've grown so much. But a lot of, when they first started, the terminals that they fly into are usually the cargo terminals. They have their own terminals, but it's not the main terminal. The airport's not super fancy, or they don't fly into the super fancy parts of the airport. And they don't. Also, here's the thing: you can get, okay, I'm gonna fly from Querétaro to Monterrey. You can get a ticket literally for 100 pesos. Okay, but the catch is you also have to pay the airport tax, so it comes out to a couple hundred more pesos. And then you also pick a package. Like if you want to board first, you want preferred seating, you start adding the little things on that you want. You want to check in luggage. They have like Viva Light, Viva. So it's much more inexpensive depending on what you're willing to sacrifice. For example, we always used to fly VIP, and that gives you priority boarding. And then these last two times we didn't fly VIP. I think it was 150 when we went to Cabo. If I'm not mistaken, it was like $150 a person. But we did the light, and then that was with carry-on luggage. But they actually weigh your luggage, and they only tell you 15 kilos. And if you go over the 15 kilos, then you have to pay. And then you usually have to pay more if you're at the airport than you have to. Then you pay whenever you. How would you say? You get it with your ticket. So it's kind of a no frills airline. At one point, it was first. The seating was like Southwest. First come, first serve. That's why you bought VIP, because you needed to get on first. But now they have assigned seating. But even with the assigned seating, if you want the emergency exit, it's 100 pesos more. So we really enjoy Viva Aerobus. Now, Volaris is, I think, the other budget airline. Um, we prefer Viva Aerobus because there's just a bunch of options. If we want to travel light, and I know I'm just going to take my backpack or we're going to go for a couple of days, there's no, we just take, and actually carry on, or the Viva Light is just basically one carry on. And then they even have, I think, a package where you just have one personal item, if I'm not mistaken. But I think it's the Viva Light is the lowest one where you take on carry on luggage. And it's very inexpensive. But at the same time, if you want preferred seating, you get preferred seating, you upgrade. And if we want to get in VIP, we go on VIP. We board first or whatever. You get better seats. But we like you pick your budget, kind of, sort of. So you just have to be a little bit careful because when you see 50 pesos to Cozumel, yeah, 50 pesos. That's with not adding your luggage. Not oh, and then when you get on the plane, you make sure you take they do take American credit cards. When you get on the plane, if you want a drink, you want a Coke, you want anything else, you purchase that. That's how they make their money. They make their money off of selling you their services, not the actual plane ticket. But then also the 50 pesos, you also have to put in the airport tax. So then maybe it's going to be more like 1,000 pesos when the airport tax is put on there. But you're still flying for anywhere from 100 and 150 bucks. So that's probably the best bet. Oh, Mexicana did fly to the USA, but they only flew 727s, so no jumbo jets as far as I remember. Yeah. Well, there. You know what? A lot of Southwest Airlines made the 727 very very popular. A lot of the budget airlines in the United States made the seven now. I don't know what's it now. The 737 Airbus 80 or whatever that airplane is. Now those are starting to take international flights a lot more. Um, you're seeing a lot of the large 747s and stuff are there's not a lot of them in service anymore because it's very expensive for the airlines to maintain them. Oh, yes. You know what? Actually, Michael, I saw something. Volaris has launched their yearly pass for a couple of $100. Catch is you pay airport tax and or luggage fee. That's kind of like the way Viva Aerobus works. Um, I'm not sure Volaris will come out cheaper because Viva, what they do is they say the same thing, but it's like 50 pesos. But then, of course, you pay the airport tax. I had heard Kuru Paul did something about this pass, but he did an actual video. I don't know why, but the video kind of mysteriously disappeared. I don't know because it was around the time that some people were giving him grief about doing paid promotions, but not putting that it was a paid promotion. I don't know if he was being if he was being paid to promote it, or something happened with the actual contract to promote it, but the video disappeared. But I have heard of that yearly pass. He was actually talking about it. He did a video, and it was up for a couple of months. Um, but I know that it went down for some reason. I don't know why it was taken down, or he took it down, or whatever it was. Um, or maybe he was supposed to get paid for the paid promotion and Bolaris never paid him. I don't know, to be honest with you, but I do know that he was promoting that pass at one point. Tom M., my first trip to Mexico was in the 70s to Mexico City. I was crew, and our layover hotel was Maria Isabella by the Golden Angel statue. Yeah, in the Reforma. And they gave me the penthouse. I never understood why. Tom, I'll tell you what, that's probably actually I haven't heard of that hotel, but I know exactly where you're talking about. I actually the embassy's close to there, and I used to have to do a lot of trips to Mexico City because a lot of our diplomatic meetings were with the heads of the agencies here, and of course the heads are all in Mexico City, like the head of SAT. The director of SAT was here. I mean, was there. The directors of INM, when we would have to go meet with them. So We used to stay next to the embassy. There was an actual Marriott there, and the Golden Angel statue is really close. So I probably stayed real close to that hotel that you're talking about. And Wilfredo, how's it going? Great to see you here. Any more questions? Uh, we've got about, we're in on an hour. A nature lover, looking forward to your market video. Um, and also the market video, I'm not going to tell you that everywhere the market's going to be this cheap, but I'm also, the point I'm going to try to make with the market is I talked yesterday before we go, because I know we're on an hour unless I get another question. But the point I was trying to make yesterday um, with find your place, and not every place is the same. But San Miguel de Allende, everybody says that it's really only for rich people because there's a city market here and everything's outrageously priced. The houses are outrageously priced. You can't touch anything. The rent is outrageously priced. It might be a little bit higher than other places, but the rent. But my point is that if you, when we were talking about, remember I said about expectations. Okay. When I talk about expectations is if you want to come here and you have the expectation is you want to experience and you're willing to live here frugally, yes, you can live here on $1,500 a month, even in San Miguel de Allende. All of these videos that come out here and say, live here on $1,500 a month, live there on 15. Yes, you can. I'm not going to dispute that. The problem is the misleading parts of most of those videos are, and I'm going to tell you right now, is it's just, let me show you all this beautiful paradise, and you get this impression that you're going to live like a king on a $1,500 a month. Now, living like a king, you have to define what living like a king means. Okay? Living like a king to me is going to be different than living like a king to you. When I talked about yesterday, it's about experiences. So, okay, I come to San Miguel de Allende and all I can find is a little place in the central, one bedroom, $500. I think Susan Booth, who said she rents very, very affordably. She lives very, as a matter of fact, she was saying in one of my live streams, she loves to go to the central. She finds things to do. She's living the experience, and she lives here here in San Miguel de Allende, very affordably, very frugally. She found a place to rent for, I don't remember, Susan, and correct me if I'm wrong. I know you're not here. I haven't seen you here, but she was saying, oh, I found a place for, I think $400 or $500, and I live frugally and I love it here. So to her, that's living like a king. To somebody else, I'm not going to deal with that. I can't. I need a house, or I need a bigger place, or I don't want to live I want to live on the top of the hill. Okay, well, you're going to have to pay $1 million for the top of the hill. Maybe that's to you living like a king. Now, I will tell you, the $1 million houses up on the hill are much more of a house than a $1 million house in California. So yes, does your money go further here? Yes, it does. But living like a king, you need to define that. And it's not about these YouTube videos that just go do drone shots of the beautiful beach, and you have this impression that you're going to go and you're going to live on this condo that's beachside, and you're going to walk out and you're going to take 2 steps and you're going to be in the water. Well, that condo might cost you a lot of money. You might have to, if you're on a $1,500 budget and you want to live in that area, yes, you can, but you're going to have to make some sacrifices. You're not going to live in a condo where you step 3 steps out and you're on the beach. But the problem with a lot of these videos is it's like, oh, look at the beautiful beach, and look how beautiful Cancun is, or look how beautiful Tulum is, or look how beautiful this is. Well, yes, it's beautiful, but you're living in expectations. You have to meet your expectations. And it's personal and actually, nature lover, you just made the perfect thing here. Everything is based on someone's personal perspective. I've lived in Los Angeles for almost 30 years. I think many places in Mexico will be far less expensive and far more peaceful than here. And that's true. And it's all based on personal perspective. I think the most important part, nature lover, of what you said is it's about personal perspective. And also, when I talk about, okay, you're not going to be able to live here on $1,500 a month if you have another expectation, but your money does go further here. I don't know very many places in the United States, to be honest with you, that you can afford. Uh, I mean, you're below the poverty line if you're living on $1,500 a month. Here, you can find a place. You live a minimalist lifestyle. You're frugal. Um, and you watch your money, you budget your money, you'll be fine. Um, the only things is you have to get over several hurdles, such as getting residency. Um, that might be one of your hurdles. That you have to look at the whole picture. You know, if someone convinces you to come here for $1,500, and don't come here and live here illegally, don't let anybody convince you to do that, because I do know a couple of YouTube channels that have said that in the past, that you just can come here and Mexico doesn't care. Don't come here and live here illegally. People that have gotten caught, trust me, I have horror stories that I can tell you of being deported, because if Mexico picks you up here illegally, they return you to your country, and it's up to them, depending. It can be get on the next flight back, or stay in a detention center until we have until we process you and have the the facilities to send you back. Gratitude to your channel, Ernie. Your voice of maturity, wisdom, experience are far preferred over some of the other channels promoting the move to Mexico. I enjoy Gringos R Us too. Well, thank you very much for that wonderful compliment, nature lover. That's what keeps me going here. I don't do it for money. Um, like I said, I had a real job, a real career, and I worked 30 years of my life to get a pension. And it's just like a lot of you are going to work all your life, maybe even it's just to get Social Security. Um, and although I do believe that YouTube can be a lucrative career and a lucrative business, I also do believe that it shouldn't be your only source of income, or um, a dream of coming here and being a YouTuber and making a lot of money. There's a lot of people that come here. The market's been very saturated now with YouTubers. There's very few of the original YouTubers. Um, and I've even seen one channel just go totally downhill, one of the major ones. And, you know, they're scraping for money. They're doing anything that they can for money. And it's not, and it's my attitude is like, dude, you're only 20 or 30 years old. Go out and get a real job. Go out and work for a real pension. Go out and work for a real 401k, and then come back and then make your money, or work a business. But don't go scamming people, or don't go sitting there scraping the bottom of the barrel and telling people that they're donating to your cause or donating to keep the channel. I'm free, but if you want to donate, that's a scam. It's to make money. It's not to work. It's so they don't have to work. That's the truth. And then maybe I'm going on a rant, but I give my services for free, because I went and worked a real job for 30 years. I got a pension, and I worked for that pension, and I'm able to do YouTube. And if someday I want to make it rich and, I don't know, make YouTube a business, then I do it. But I'm not relying on it. Rick, You are so correct, Ernie. Everyone comes with a different perspective. For us, Hawaii, the most expensive state in the U.S. Yes, it is to live and retire. Mexico and other, in particular, San is very appealing. Yes, Rick. I have to agree with you that Hawaii is very, very expensive. Very beautiful, though. Uh, I have to admit, I've never been to Hawaii. My wife actually lived in Hawaii for a while, and she talks nothing but beautiful things about the islands. And we need to make it back. We need to make it back there, but it's very expensive. And San Miguel de Allende, um, I guess what you're used to in cost of living over there, Rick. Um, Trust me, it's going to be very appealing here in San Miguel de Allende, and you're going to like it. You're really going to like it. Yes, Lambden, getting a remote job outside the USA is more. Yes, getting a remote job outside the USA is way more possible nowadays, not just as a YouTuber, and that's my point. Um, I'm not trying to bang other YouTube channels. I'm not trying to bang other people for trying to make money. YouTube can be a lucrative business, but the problem that I see with YouTube right now is that so many people are trying to break in to the YouTube space or maintain their income that they had before in the YouTube space that they've started to stoop very low to try to convince people that they're the only authority on Mexico, or you need to give me donations so that I can continue my channel, or instead of just being honest, just having an honest business. Um, and monetizing your channel and telling people, not trying to tell people that everybody else is wrong and I'm the only one that's right, or not trying to, I don't know, put shock thumbnails on every one of their videos. I know a couple, one out of he does almost every video. Supposedly you're going to be shocked. So you click on the video. I mean, come on, guys, just be honest. And I do it. I'm like, ooh, on my video thumbnails. I mean, that's the name of the game. But when you see the person behind all those thumbnails, they're trying to get you to click on a video to make money. And then in the video, they try to get you to give them more money. And that's not right. Okay. We have plenty, and there's plenty of examples of legitimate YouTube channels that have made a lot of money, that do an honest job. And there's a lot of them, but let's keep it honest. There's expat services. I actually put my name behind one of them, Mexico Relocation Guide. Yeah, they sell a guide for $500, but they don't push it on people. They give a lot of free information, and even what you're paying for is the sources in that guide. And in those sources are bad, she gets rid of them. That's doing honest business. And then not only that, she gives you, this is what all the consulates are asking for. She doesn't give you instructions to go to the consulate with a piece of paper with the Mexican law and explain the Mexican law that I'm retired and you should give me residency because I'm retired and that's what the Mexican law. You don't do those kinds of things. And though that's what's important is you seek out the people that are really legit. And Lambden, your candor is appreciated. Just like your channel says, retire in life in Mexico, noble. Yeah, I try to keep them noble in it. And that's why I don't, the only monetization I have is I have a buy me a coffee page that I think I made in the 3 years, probably a whole 20 or 30 bucks or 40 bucks. And YouTube doesn't pay me not even enough to break the, what do you call it? The payout every month. I pay out of my pocket for 90% or 100% of it, not 90%, 100% of this equipment. None of it's donated. I don't ask for donations. I don't ask for money. If people donate, they donate. And actually, I've been thinking, but I haven't done the video yet, and it's been a couple of years that I've been, But I've been even thinking that of actually monetizing, doing a Patreon or doing something like that. But instead of keeping the money for myself, actually giving and donating the money to a cause. And I have a cause here in Guanajuato that takes kids off the street and has community centers and gives kids opportunities that they might not have. And I would rather that money that you donate go to that community center than it go into some YouTuber greedy's pocket because they just don't want to work or have a real job. And Rick Brandt, and I'm sorry if I'm going on rant about YouTube channels, but and it's not YouTube channels. I just brought up Mexico Relocation Guide, and Mexico Relocation Guide is a expat business. It's not just YouTube channels, it's expat businesses. I've caught a lot of them on Facebook trying to tell people give them, I'm going to give you advice on what to do. And by the way, I offer this service that you can, and we giving you free advice, but by the way, I offers this service. And some of the advice is just out of this world. I remember one expat service that was telling people not to carry around their residency card because they're going to lose it. And that was at the time that immigration was checking vehemently for residency cards. And they were trying to say, get a driver's license instead. And by the way, I offer driver's licenses. But then the advice was really bad advice because you get stuck without your residency card. Doesn't matter if you have a Mexican driver's license, immigration was going to make your life kind of miserable. So that's what I'm trying to say here. Look at what's behind it. Mexico Relocation Guide is great. It's well worth the price we paid. And I have a lot of people tell me the same thing. And actually, Diana J. Actually, the relocation guide that I bought did help me as much as several free YouTubes. When I want to use the one service I needed, the people never return calls. Actually, Diana, I think you came onto another live stream. If not you, but I think someone else did. And one of the things that I did say, and they did make some comments about the particular relocation guide contact. I don't know if you're talking about Mexico Relocation Guide, but I know that they were saying that they never called them back or they had some problems. And I told whoever it was, I'm not sure if it's you, Diana, but I told them, get back with Mariana, who owns a Mexico Relocation Guide. Let them know what happened because she will remove them as a contact. And if you do have some problems, you have access to their Facebook page. She will, if you get on that Facebook, I've even seen it, where people will get on her Facebook, their private Facebook page, the paid customers, and they will say, and they will actually say, hey, one of your facilitators that you recommended isn't calling me back. Oh, I'll get a hold of them. I'll have them call you back. Or you know what? Not a problem. Use this facilitator instead. And sometimes she even removes them from contacts. That's to her, customer feedback is the most important. And so she is very, very much into how can I, if you're having a problem with any of my people or whatever that I suggest, how can I help? And actually, Diana, here's the thing. The Mexico Relocation Guide isn't for everybody too. Just because I say how wonderful it is or whatever, it's not for everybody. Somebody like me, I other than the fact that I have dealt with the Mexico Relocation Guide and everything else, I don't need a lot of the services that they offer. I did all of that stuff on my own, but I have a better understanding of Mexico than other people do. So the Mexico Relocation Guide is not for everybody. And even the person that owns the Mexico Relocation Guide will tell you it's not for everybody. Or if my free information gets you where you need to go, then that's good. That's good for you. You don't need to buy my guide. She doesn't really push it on people. Yep, Ernie, you and I and others worked our asses off for years to get a pension and a 401k and pay into Social Security and Medicare. I agree with Lambden. Your channel's called No Bull. Thanks. Uh, Thank you, Tom. And like I said, that's what keeps me going. That's the reason why I why I do this. And Diana, yes, if I don't need the money, then it's great to donate it where it's needed. Yes, um, and I actually not that I don't need the money. Anybody needs money. I could use money. But one of the things I did here, I live decently on my pension. I'm not rich. I'm not flowing in money. And yeah, buying this equipment is a little bit of a sacrifice. It's very expensive. I pay, I'm not kidding you, between subscription services and everything to keep this running. Just this software that I'm running runs me $500 a year. I pay probably $3,000 or $4,000 a year in just subscription services so I can edit my videos and give you all of what you need to do. Now, does that mean I'm rich? No, it doesn't mean I'm rich. What I'm doing is I'm giving back to the community. That's my donation to the community. That's my donation to you guys. Okay? It's not because I have extra money, or it's not because I'm rich, or because I have all this money to throw away. No, it's because I want to be free of any financial influences. I don't want to be selling a service because I don't want anybody to feel that I'm trying to push a service down your throat. And yes, I promote from Mexico Relocation Guide, but they don't pay me anything. I only promote it because you know how when a YouTuber gets up and says, I only promote the services that I use. Yeah, and they're also getting paid to say that. That's what everybody needs to understand. And okay, if you went through 4 services and vetted them and say, I like this one the best, why don't you just say that? And I'm getting paid to do this. But that's the bottom line. And it is true. But when I made a comment of doing this and saying, you know what? I've seen so many people donate or literally pay for videos thinking that they're helping the creator. Well, you know what? If you want to pay me for a video, pay me for a video. I'll do a video and I'll donate the money to a good cause, a real good cause, not somebody that doesn't want to work. Okay. And hustling on YouTube or supposedly working super hard on YouTube and having videos every day, that's not work. Working is having a real job and getting a real pension. That's work. So, you know what? I work a lot on my YouTube channel too, but I don't charge anybody for it. I don't ask for donations. And if I do ask for donations, I'm going to ask for donations for a good cause. And you know what? Not all YouTubers are greedy. Diana, I have to agree with you. And that's why I said there's a lot of honest YouTubers out there and a lot of good information. And there's actually a lot of YouTubers out there that make a lot of money that are actually honest. And some of them make slips in judgment. And I've called one out that's made a slip in judgment, but I still say that he's one of the best and he's made a good money off of it. He's honest. And he's made a lot of money off of it. But I also felt that he did something wrong and I had to call that out because I don't want people to get away with that. But that doesn't mean that I'm trying to say that he's the worst person in the world. Okay. But what I am putting down, and I'm going to tell you right now, is I know several that would rather not work and have you pay for their vacations, for all of their stuff, their rent, their electricity bill, when some of us worked our butts off all our lives to pay our electricity bill and to pay our rent. And now, if there's several YouTubers, as a matter of fact, I can even name you several of them, honest, good, hard-working people. And actually one of them that has made a lot of money, he also did a 20-year career in law enforcement, and actually has a pension. He actually had a real job, and he actually made a lot of money on YouTube. And he's still making a lot of money on YouTube doing Spanish lessons. That's the type of YouTuber that we need in this world. If you want to start giving your money to YouTubers, that's what I'm trying to say. And actually, Diana, almost retired in Mexico. Perfect example of an honest YouTuber. I've come out on his show. Perfect example. And I'll tell you what, almost retired in Mexico. Uh, he's worked in the workforce. Uh, he's worked in the workforce, and he's trying to make a career out of YouTube, and an honest career out of YouTube. He also gives it really good advice. That's one of the honest ones. And I'm like I said, I'm not going to put on all the YouTubers. Gringos Are Us, a very helpful YouTube channel. Uh, I even helped them cross the border. Very honest. Actually, uh, one of them's on a pension and the other one works remotely. She doesn't, she works, she has a job, okay? A real job. So they're honest, really good, honest people. And they're actually, Gringos Are Us. I will tell you right now, Gringos Are Us, they are doing the perfect thing. They're going around all of Mexico and they're giving you a chance to see. And while they're picking where they want to go and where they want to stay. And Tom M, there are very many great YouTube channels out there, and I'm very grateful for their help. I'm not trying to put down YouTube, and actually, when I talk about Facebook and YouTube, there are several Facebook groups that I don't know, they're toxic, but I tell you, go to YouTube, go do your research. If you have a favorite YouTuber, if you want to give money, give money. It's your choice. It's not. But, also when you're doing your research, it's important to see. It's important. If you're going to buy the Mexico relocation guide, look at who's behind the Mexico relocation guide. Just because I say it's great doesn't mean you need to do your own research. You need to make sure that that's what's for you. I even said the Mexico relocation guide is not for everybody. Now, if I was sitting here telling you everybody buy it, then I would be lying to you. And if I were making money off of it because I was telling everybody to buy it, then that's the problem. The problem isn't me trying to help you and saying, hey, this guy's really great. That's what I'm trying to get at. There's a lot of good YouTubers out there. And like I said, give great information. And even some of the YouTubers that I'm talking about that don't want to work, a lot of their information is great. I'm not even putting down and saying don't watch them. Actually, I personally have watched several of them myself and looked at their content, and some of it's good and some of it's not so good. Some of it, but you need to sift through that stuff. And if you want, you need to see who is legit and who's not. But just because someone is a smooth talker, don't just because someone's a smooth talker, don't buy into it. That's all I'm trying to say. There's a difference between someone that's trying to honestly help you move to Mexico and make a living and do an honest living job, make an honest living out of it. There's nothing wrong with that. Yes, any good energy that's shared and appreciated comes back a good energy in other ways. Some that we never know about. It's great to share wherever we are able. Yes, and you know what, Nature Lover? That's what my whole channel is based on. That's what my whole Facebook is based on. We're a community. We're a community. We help each other out. I don't have all the answers. I'm not going to have all the answers. I know where to look sometimes for the answers. Oh, wow. Someone just subscribed. Thank you for your subscription here, Beth. But I don't have all the answers. We help each other out. That's what it's all about. And thank you for everything you do to keep us informed, Ernie. Your sincerity comes across very clearly. Thank you very much. And you know what? And I apologize if it sounds like I'm trying to trash other YouTubers or I'm not trying to trash anybody. All I'm trying to tell you is, it's about common sense and it's about looking at what's behind all of that stuff. And I've always been very passionate about it. Sometimes I get a bit too passionate about it. Maybe I got too passionate tonight, but you know what? We need to, and Tyler Webb, yeah, millions work their butts off and don't get a pension. You know what? You're right, Tyler. And unfortunately, some people aren't that lucky. Some people only get Social Security. And I was fortunate enough to have a government job. Actually, when I talked about in one of my videos, there was several studies that have been done that some people end up working until they die because they can't, and it's unfortunate. I mean, it's unfortunate that we live in an economy like that. Um, and Mexico is definitely, if you can get your Social Security or your pension, Mexico is definitely, and now at the same time, you got to meet the residency requirements. There are some residency requirements that you don't have to meet financial solvency, but at the same time, you need to make sure that you qualify for those programs. It's not as easy as just showing up, or it's not as easy as going to a consulate and showing that you're retired. Um, a lot of people have quoted this supposed law that all you have to do is be retired and show your pension letter and your pension, and supposedly you get permanent residency. It's been very, very misquoted. It's even been misquoted by an actual attorney, and that's not true. Actually, that attorney even makes a comment that it's up to the consulate. The consulate determines what that amount is, and unfortunately, that amount is very, very high. It's more than temporary residency. So, and CMT, yeah, many people have asked us which channels to watch for information back in the US, and we have told them to ignore certain channels. Yeah, well, I don't like to, I'm not gonna bash any one channel. The only time that I do come out is when a channel does something very blatantly wrong. Um, and I don't care how big you are or how small you are, or if I feel that you did something blatantly wrong. And yes, I know someone's going to say, who are you to judge? I'm not here to judge. I'm just here to state the facts. When I see that the community is being misled with facts that are not totally accurate, or someone's playing with words or telling you something, um, then that's not accurate, then I'll be the first one to tell you it's not accurate. And actually, I'll also be the first one to tell you when I made a mistake and what I said was inaccurate. I'll be the first one to say it. I I have no ego. I have nothing to protect. I not worried about losing subscribers or gaining subscribers. I tell people here, if you didn't like what you're seeing right now, you didn't like my tirade, put a dislike. Uh, if you don't like it, dislike it. It helps me get the word out. A dislike works just as well as a like with the YouTube algorithm, but it tells YouTube that you're watching. Uh, but it also gives me feedback. If I get 100 dislikes on a video and one like, then I know that I need to adjust my content. So it is valuable. Even giving me a dislike is valuable if you didn't like the content that I put out. Yes, and this is what my most important thing is taking responsibility for our own actions is paramount. Also, best to ensure things go as we wish as much as possible. And that's what I do when I call out somebody. And actually, when I call out anybody for anything that I believe that was not right, it's because I believe it's not right, and those individuals don't want to take responsibility. I have approached several people with certain information that they've released, and they've taken responsibility. But when I approach a person and they refuse to take responsibility, then that's when I call them out. And that's the only time I call them out. I don't have anything against anybody, to be honest with you. And Tyler, you're right. Only 14% of the private sector still offer traditional pensions like your parents or grandparents got. That's not right after you have given the company your best years. Yeah, and you know what, Tom? The other thing to mention too, a lot of companies aren't keeping people I mean, the days of you working for the same company for 20, 30 years. And I can even tell you right now, right before I left, I don't know if it's ever going to pass, but they wanted to change the federal government retirement system. to a 401k type based system where you don't even get a pension. And even my pension is less than my predecessor's pension. I actually missed the old pension system by about 5 years. So my pension's not as good as like some other government employees that retired a lot way before me. The pension system is deteriorating. Um, and companies are not even keeping people. They're laying people off before they even retire. It's very sad. It really is a sad situation. And seems like you're just looking out for your community, just like when you're and what. Yes, I'm trying to look out for the community, and that's what my channel's all about. I have good energy. Thanks. Sometimes I'm out of energy. Actually, Kai, you made a good point. Kai, probably I was a little bit more down in Monterrey. I was worn down. We were building a house, and San Miguel's just got this vibe. Someone was telling me yesterday, a good friend of ours, that there's a legend that San Miguel was actually built on red quartz crystals. The underneath San Miguel, the underneath San Miguel are red quartz crystals, and it was built on top of it. And if anybody is, I guess, suspicious, superstitious, or esoteric, crystals are very important for energy. And San Miguel does have an energy that a lot of people will tell you that you just can't describe it unless you come here. Wilfredo, I'm keeping them honest. Well, hopefully I am. And I'm not ticking off too many people because I do know a lot of these people have fans. And like I said, don't have anything against anybody. Uh, and I give credit where credit's due. Even some of the people that I've called out, I I will give them credit for uh, whatever they do best. And I think that some of these people have made just lapses in judgment. Um, and like I said, I've even talked to several people. Just recently, I talked to one YouTuber. He took his video down. He says, "Okay, I understand. Yeah, heck yeah, you're right. I didn't realize, and I'm going to take the video down." And they took the video down. And I didn't go out and yell out and so did a video. No. But what I have done is I've contacted people and it's like, "You're full of it. I don't care. Do whatever you want to do, or you only have 8,000 subscribers. I don't care. You're inconsequential." Well, okay, fine. But at least I have 8,000 subscribers that are going to watch me and that can make decisions for their own and that will be informed with the correct information. That's what's my goal, is the correct information. Yes, the difference on the corporate structure over recent decades is sad. So many companies that subcontract with other companies. Yeah, that's another thing. Contracting, subcontracting. Um, you know, and there's a lot of talk about the Social Security system possibly going broke. There's more people collecting than people putting in at this point because of the population. You had the baby boomer population. A lot more, you have an older generation now that's collecting. And for years, Congress robbed the Social Security fund for projects or whatever when there were surpluses. So there's even talk that the Social Security may go away. And it's a shame. It really is a shame that we let this deteriorate. But I'm not here to talk politics. I don't, it's just a sad situation. Um, the only advice that I can give, or not even give advice, but if you're in that situation, I'm sorry. And, you know, it's a shame. It's a shame that corporations aren't giving out pensions anymore. It's a shame that, there's a lot of people with the 401ks that were, as a matter of fact, when I first got into my agency, I was not convinced, but I was told that I was going to come out of my retirement after 30 years with over $1 million. And I can tell you right now, I didn't come out with over $1 million in my 401k. Quite the opposite. Um, and this is what's being sold to corporations and being sold to people. that if you put away in these 401ks, you're going to somehow have all this money. But the economy is just, I don't know. We'll have to see. We'll really have to see. Um, but that's one reason why people come here to Mexico. And I will agree to that. That is one reason why people come here to Mexico. And if that's the reason why you're coming here to Mexico, that's great that you have an option. But remember that you're taking this option, and remember that this option comes with its consequences. Okay? And in order to survive here, you're going to need to adapt. I've had to adapt to many cultural differences. So I've had to adapt to certain things. I did this thing on expat fatigue. Don't give up. This is my thing. Some people will tell you, hey, some people will say this, but they'll say, hey, you're not going to make it because you don't have the attitude and you don't going to want to adapt and you don't, you know what? Look, you'll make it if you're willing to adapt, if you're willing to put things in perspective. I don't know if everybody's heard the old saying, when you get lemons, turn it into lemonade. That's what you need to do when you come here to Mexico. Any lemons, turn that sucker into lemonade. And I guarantee you, no matter how much you come on, whether you came here for financial reasons to begin with or you didn't, I guarantee you when you make it into lemonade, you're going to forget about the fact that you came here for financial reasons. You're going to just be like, this is the best decision I ever made. And that's the truth. It's the best decision you can make, is moving to Mexico, if you are able to put it into perspective and you are able to adapt. And that's all it is. It's just being able to adapt. I'm just beginning my search to possibly move to Mexico. So glad to have run across your channel and have subscribed. I'm running across misleading information and I'm trying to sort it out. Yes, Beth, and you know what? There is a lot of misleading information. Just sort it out. I've given a lot of advice on Facebook. Usually when you put it on, well, question to Facebook. I've tried to keep this out of my Facebook group, but you're going to get 15 answers. And maybe because, not necessarily that it's misinformation. Not necessarily that it's misinformation, but you got to remember, this is what I always explain to everybody. My experience in San Miguel de Allende is not going to be the same as someone's experience in Cancun, or is not going to be the same experience as someone in Oaxaca, or is not going to be the same experience as someone in Mérida. Okay? So if you ask a question and you plan to live in San Miguel and someone from Mérida is giving you an answer saying this is the way it works, well, maybe that's the way it works in Mérida, but not necessarily San Miguel. So what you need to do is say, okay, how many of these people are answering me from San Miguel and how many of these answers are consistent? Okay. Now, there are several factors that are going to be the same no matter where you go. The electricity is always going to cost the same. It's run by the federal government. The rates are always going to be the same. The difference is going to be where you live. Denise has said this a lot of times, and I'm gonna finish up now because we're gonna go on to. You know what? I always go over my hour, but one thing that Denise was making a comment, and she's right, and actually she made it responding to my comment. She had to put solar panels. She lives in Mérida. She was saying that you can pay 8,000 to 10,000 pesos a month on your electricity bill in Mérida, okay? Because you end up having to go into a higher rate. But I could tell you here in Mexico that electricity only costs me $50 a month. That's what it cost me here in San Miguel on my humongous house. Yeah, because I'm not running mini splits. That's the difference. So if I tell you $50, someone in Mérida tells you, heck no, it's going to cost you $500, then you need to look at where you're going to live. Now, if you're going to live in Mérida, you better take their advice. Or if someone in Mérida is telling you, I only pay $150 on my electric bill. Yeah, I'm going to tell you right now, they don't have air conditioning. And Mérida can get super, super, super hot and humid. Okay? So if you want to live in Merida with a $150 electric bill, just be ready to sweat and be ready to deal with that. But if you're from, I don't know, South Texas and you're used to it, and you're used to just living on a fan and hot and humid 110 degree, or you're from Phoenix, Arizona, and you don't have air conditioning in your house in Phoenix, Arizona, then it's not going to affect you. It's all about personal perspective. And when you're looking for information, look for that information based on what you're looking for, based on where you're going to live. And then the most consistent answer, other than and then the other thing too is ignore all the insults and you're so stupid, or use the search button, or this has been answered 20 million times. Ignore that. There's no such thing as a stupid question, and someone's going to come on and answer your question. But you need to really sift through it. Tom, very glad that the Why Not chant is back. Following their instructions, I did. Yeah, you know what, Tom? The Why Not Now channel, they were a great couple, and they did some great videos. They got a little frustrated. They quit. Um, they were one of those that tried to make it work, and they were one of the honest channels that were trying to make a decent living off of YouTube. And it didn't work out, and they kind of left. And then all of a sudden, these videos are surfacing, but there is some suspicious stuff about it. Uh, all of the videos that are resurfacing are repurposed videos. That's number one. Uh, Now that doesn't make that fake, because repurposing their videos because they may be wanting to come back to Mexico, and that's all they have previous video footage. They're not going to shoot here if they're not here. But the thing that really concerns me about that channel is they're using repurposed video, and when everybody makes comments like, "Hey, where you been? Where you at? Oh man, it's great that you're back. Cool. Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah. Maybe we're going to do something there." Nothing personal. Nobody's saying, "No, we're still back in the States." They're not, the responses are very, very weird, short, and I'm not sure if it's them. And actually, 2 or 3 months after they left YouTube, someone came out with a video, and people were saying, "Are you back? Are you back?" Nothing, no response. So I have no earthly idea what's going on with that channel. Hopefully it hasn't been robbed. Hopefully they're planning to come back. Maybe they're trying to give some teasers. And I hope they really do come back to Mexico. And I hope this time around they can make it. Those guys are one of the honest ones that I can tell you. They're really honest. And they weren't scamming people for money. They were really honestly trying to give people advice. And they were honestly trying to, I think they even were trying to sell merchandise at one time, legitimately trying to make a living, but they were doing it the honest way. They weren't trying to tell you that they were the only ones that knew everything. They weren't trying to build credibility or say things just to look like they are the only ones that know, or come to my channel, or my channel is the only one that. No, they were honestly giving their personal opinions. And that's what you need to look for in getting your advice. And even in some of these channels where I say that, oh, they do this, they do that. Hey, some of their videos actually do have good advice, but take it with a grain of salt, okay? Or maybe grab the information that they have to give you, and maybe not donate $50 for them to do a video for you, okay? Maybe someone else will pay the $50, and maybe you got good information off of that video. Doesn't mean not to watch it. You got great information. So I'm not saying to not watch anybody. I'm just saying be careful when you compare. See if this information comes from a good source. Maybe that YouTuber lives where you want to go. Maybe they know more about that area. Maybe when they start talking about, this is where I live in this neighborhood and everything else, that's good information. That's really great information. And just because they're trying to scam the rest of the YouTube community doesn't mean that they don't have good information. But it's up to you to make sure that that information that they give you fits you, nobody else. I mean, who am I to tell you what Merida's like? Because I don't live in Merida. I've been all over Mexico. I can tell you the feedback I get from my audience. I can tell you, oh, you know what? Let me ask a friend of mine that lives in Merida. I have a really good friend. Actually, he's a journalist there. That's where I get most of my information of what's going on in Merida. But um, it doesn't mean that I can't give you expert advice on how the climate is right now in Merida because I'm not there. I can tell you how it is in San Miguel. I can tell you how it is in Monterrey because I just finished talking to excuse me. I talk to my in-laws almost every day. So, yeah, it's, you gotta kind of sift through the information. And there is general information, just like I said, the immigration laws, they're going to be, but each office works differently. And then CMT, we pay a higher bill because we choose to put in a hot tub. But BBN, it's still less expensive than in the States. Lifestyle choice. Yes. And actually, it is less expensive. I'll tell you what, I complained about, I'm in Monterrey. I paid, and I'm going to tell you right now, 6,000 pesos for my last electric bill. But that's because we were running electricity. And here's the thing, I wasn't running as much as what Diane was saying, about 8 to 10,000. We ran about 6,000, but I was missing 2 weeks out of that year, out of that billing period. Now, if you take 6,000 pesos, okay, right now, and let me do the math because I'm not good at math, even though I got an engineering degree. But if you take 6,000 pesos at 18 to 1, that's $333. Okay. Now you're going to say that's expensive. Okay. That's $333 over 2 months. So if I divide that by 2, I paid $166 per month. And that's because I was running my air condition. Okay. Now, $166 a month. I lived in South Texas, McAllen, Texas. I also have a house in Santa Fe, New Mexico. When we go there to stay in Santa Fe, New Mexico, I can tell you that my electricity costs more than $166 a month in Santa Fe, New Mexico. I can tell you we were staying in a friend's apartment for a little while we were building our house in Monterrey because we wanted to stay in McAllen for a little while. And we paid the electric bill. And it came out to $166 a month for a 2-bedroom apartment. So you're right, CMT. It is cheaper than the United States. The only problem is that, and here's the issue that I see a lot of people don't understand, is that they don't understand why, especially, I see this a lot in the expat groups in Merida, in Cancun, and Playa. What happens is they go down to Playa, their first bill comes out to like 500 pesos. So 500 pesos divided by 18 is going to be $27. Wow, my electricity bill. And actually, that's what I pay here in San Miguel de Allende. Okay, maybe 20, $50, $70 if we use a lot of electricity. Okay, here in San Miguel de Allende. And what happens is they say, wow, cool. I'm paying $27 for my electricity bill. Then they get the next electricity bill and it's 6,000 pesos, which is the $166. And then they don't understand because I see this a lot. Does anybody know why I pay? And it's not usually 500 pesos. It's usually like, I usually pay 2,000 pesos and all of a sudden my electricity bill came 6,000 pesos and I didn't run the air conditioner that much more. The problem is that your electricity rate goes up with your usage. The government subsidizes a certain amount of your electricity, and then after that, you go into a different rate. It's called the DAC rate, which is 4 times the amount or 3 times the amount of the normal rate. So let's say you were paying 2,000 pesos. What happens is if you go over this certain amount of usage over a period of time, they say, oh, you're using too much electricity. We're no longer going to charge you 2,000 pesos. We're going to charge you, instead of charging you 1 peso per kilowatt hours, we're going to charge you 4 pesos per kilowatt hour. So what happens? Your bill goes from 2,000 pesos to 6,000 pesos for using the same amount of electricity, because you get thrown into a different rate because you're using more electricity. So that's where you have to be careful. For example, I gave you an example in Monterrey. My electricity has only been connected for 3 or 4 months. Okay, now I left Monterrey, so I'm not using any electricity, so I'm not probably going to go into the DAC rate. But my 6,000 peso bill over a period of 5 to 6 months may turn into 3 times that much if I don't have solar panels, of course, or 2 times that much. I'm on a higher rate. After a certain amount, I pay a higher rate. But if I end up in that DAC category, I'm going to end up paying probably, instead of 6,000, more like 10,000, because my bill was more like 8,000 because I was gone for 2 weeks. Divided by 18, okay, that's 555. Divided by 2, I'm going to be going from 166 bucks to 270 to $300. So just take those things into consideration. That, no matter where you live, is going to be the same. But if you ask, hey, how come I'm getting 6,000 peso and I only live in a 2-bedroom condo? And someone from San Miguel goes, my bill never goes over 50 bucks a month or 60 bucks a month. You got to ask, where do you live? Well, I live in San Miguel. Yeah, you don't use air conditioner. You open the windows and it's nice and fresh. And I live in Merida, and that's why I'm paying 2,000, 6,000, 5,000 pesos a month. And so that is the same. It's a perfect example of how it's the same. It works the same here in San Miguel, the electric, as it works in works here in San Miguel as it works in Merida or Monterrey. Let's take Monterrey, where I'm not going to say Merida because I lived in Monterrey. I built a house there. The same amount of electricity, or not the same amount of electricity, that same billing period, I'm going to pay more in Monterrey right now I'm not, but eventually if I'm over there, then I would pay here in San Miguel, even though the rates are the same. Why? Because in Monterrey I'm going to be, but right now it's turning to November and December, and in Monterrey it's cold. And if I don't run the heater and we walk around the house in sweats all day long, my bill's not going to come out to 6,000 pesos. So those are the things that we need to really, a lot of the information, this is what I always tell people, and this is something that I'm going to leave you with. A lot of information that you receive about Mexico, whether it be from me, a YouTuber that wants to scam you from your money, or a YouTuber that doesn't know what he's talking about, whatever I might have gone on a tirade from. The information you're going to get on Mexico is an inch deep and a mile wide. I don't know if anybody's ever heard about that or ever heard that saying. Your information, just remember this, information that you're going to get in Mexico is going to be an inch deep and a mile wide. It's going to be overwhelming sometimes. And it's going to be up to you to sift through that inch deep of water to figure out where the information is right for you. And that's what it comes down to. And I don't have all the answers. And not one single YouTuber has all the answers. Not one single person on Facebook has all the answers. And you might need to search. You might have to get the answer from one YouTuber and another YouTuber get another answer. And hopefully you'll get the right answers that are for you. And even some of these people that I say that don't want to work, they might have an answer that you need. So it doesn't mean that not to look for them. And I'd like to wish everybody a good night. Wilfredo actually said good night. Everybody have a great week. Good night. And I'm ready to hang it up because we just went 2 hours. Um, Thank you very much for all your questions. Thank you for all your encouragement. And like I said, if I went off on a little bit of a what you might say is a tirade on getting good information, I'm very passionate about that, and I'm very passionate about helping the community and making sure that you get the right information that you need to make the right decisions. My job is to put out the information, and your job is to make the decisions. And thank you so much, all you guys, for tuning in, and thank you for all your support. I mean, thank you, thank you, thank you. And if you have any suggestions for videos, I've gotten a couple of suggestions already. I know Nature's Lover is looking forward to my vegetable video. Uh, I'm not the best of creatives when it comes to these types of videos where I'm more creative when it just comes to grabbing information. So hopefully you enjoy the 500 peso video. It might take me a little bit longer to put together, put music and all of that stuff over it, and maybe figure out how to narrate it and put it together. But if you have suggestions, uh, great. And I'm going to do looks like the poll looks like I'm going to do surprise live streams. I'll nobody knows when I'm going to do it. I go into the central, we go have a cup of coffee. I got a good signal. I'm going live. And if you want to not miss that, if you want to make sure that you don't miss it, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you hit that like button, because sometimes when you hit the like button, it'll actually show up on your YouTube feed. But if you subscribe and you put the notifications on, you'll get an email or you'll get a notification on your phone that I just went live. And if you don't get a chance to, I don't know if you're busy or whatever, because I'll probably be doing it during the day. I'm going to post them. They'll be there available for you to watch. Maybe even walking down the Central or our favorite place to have coffee, and I'll have a nice little discussion with you guys. And we'll do a surprise type thing. See how it works out. I know a lot of people like vlog stuff, and a lot of people have asked me, hey, do a video on walking around the market or whatever. And maybe I'm not good at, what do you call it? Maybe I'm not that good at putting together videos with just like 50 million pieces of footage, but maybe I'll be better at doing that, doing the, what do you call it? Doing the lives from downtown. And you can see where I'm walking around. And if we go back to Monterrey, hey, we went to this restaurant. Hey, I'm coming live to you from here, from this shopping center. Let you guys see San Pedro, all those places. And Ty Cobb, thank you guys. And I'm gonna keep it on. And everybody's been saying thank you. Lily Larson, Rick Brandt, thank you, Stephanie. All your thank yous. That's what keeps me going. I'm gonna leave it at this. I don't want to go 3 hours and bore everybody. And I know it's really hard for a lot of you guys to sift through all the information, and it's very, 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 very long. Jerry, question and answer is what I do best. Thank you very much, Jerry. Thank you very much. And as I always say, and I try to keep it, and actually I even added onto that, is like and subscribe, because it helps me to make content to help you. And as I always say, stay safe and stay informed. Until next time, see you soon.